In this episode, Miles and Viv explore how local butcher shops and any small retail business can use AI and everyday tools like Square, QuickBooks, and spreadsheets to know exactly when it is time to hire. Miles and Viv break down a simple 5-step process for using sales data, forecasting, and AI simulations to align staffing with real customer demand.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is, well, it's tackling something really common for small businesses.
Yeah, a big one.
Knowing exactly when you need to hire that next person, without just relying on a gut feeling.
And we're going to ground this whole discussion in a pretty specific example, but honestly, it applies everywhere. Think a small retail butcher shop.
Okay, like a local butcher.
Right. Or it could be your neighborhood coffee shop.
Yeah.
Maybe a small boutique. Any owner running lean.
Gotcha.
And the sources we looked at really highlight this core anxiety. How do you turn those vague feelings like, wow, Saturdays are insane, into a clear, objective signal?
A signal that actually justifies adding potentially thousands to your payroll costs every month.
Exactly. A data-driven decision.
Okay, let's get into this. Because what really stood out from the research is that you don't necessarily need super expensive new software for this.
Not at all.
The solution seems to use tools you probably already have, your POS system, your accounting software.
Right. Maybe QuickBooks, maybe Square.
And combining that with some modern AI analysis to kind of automate the hard part, the decision itself, it feels like a shortcut to smarter growth.
It really is about using the info you generate every single day anyway. Just, using it a whole lot smarter.
But before we jump straight to the tech, we really need to talk about the pressure this puts on an owner. The sources called it the small business staffing trap.
Oh, it's a huge trap. Because the owner is almost always the bottleneck, right? They're doing everything. Customer service, stocking shelves, balancing the books. And in our butcher shop example, literally cutting the meat.
Wearing all the hats.
All the hats. And that constant juggling leads to what some reports call decision fatigue. It makes it almost impossible to make a clear-headed choice about hiring in the moment.
So you end up deciding based on how exhausted you feel at 6 p.m. on a Friday.
Precisely. Which isn't exactly strategic.
No.
Well.
And the stakes here for a small operation, they're incredibly high. One report really hammered this point. It's a double-edged sword. Hire someone too soon, maybe before you really need them.
And your cash flow gets super tight. Maybe dangerously tight.
But if you wait too long,
then you're short-staffed during your busiest times. Customers walk out because the line's too long.
you lose sales.
You lose sales, and your existing team gets totally burned out. Morale tanks. Service suffers. It's a downward spiral.
Yeah, that lost sales piece, the opportunity cost. You think you're saving money by delaying the hire.
But you're actually bleeding potential revenue right when you should be making the most.
And that traditional advice, make sure you have enough work to justify the hire.
It's just too vague. What does enough work actually mean in dollars and cents?
Yeah.
That's what we need to figure out.
Okay, so this is where the shift happens, and this is key for you listening. We're moving away from that gut feel, that guesswork,
Right.
towards a repeatable process where the signal to hire comes directly from your own data, integrated data.
Which frees up the owner's brain space, lets them focus on growth, not just putting out fires.
We saw some stuff based on QuickBooks, actually, talking about how AI insights help small businesses, quote, save time, maximize efficiency, make decisions confidently.
Yeah, and we're applying that exact confidence boost directly to this critical staffing decision.
Okay, so that means we need the right foundation, which brings us to the technology part, the stack and the automation.
Let's talk tools. And again, the good news is you probably already have most of what you need.
We're talking point-of-sale systems, right? Like Square, maybe Toast, others.
Yep. And your accounting software. QuickBooks is common. Xero, maybe even just really well-organized Google Sheets for some smaller places.
The key thing, though, as you mentioned earlier, isn't just having the tools.
No, it's making them talk to each other. Integration is everything.
Because that first step is about stopping the manual data entry grind.
Oh, God, yes. That is soul-crushing work.
I know so many owners who spend hours every week, maybe Sunday nights, just downloading reports and trying to match things up by hand.
You have got to stop being a data entry clerk. You need to be an analyst. Or, have tools that do the analysis for you.
So how do you stop? What did the sources suggest?
Using the connectors that already exist. QuickBooks, for example, has a specific Square connector.
Okay.
You set it up, and it automatically pulls in all your sales transactions, your fees, taxes, tips. Everything flows right into your accounting system.
Wow. So the promise is basically No more manual data entry.
That's the goal. It puts everything in one place, nice and organized.
Okay, but hang on. Giving up that manual control, linking financial systems, that might make some owners a bit nervous, right? Security, maybe complexity.
That's a fair point, and it definitely came up. The key is using reputable connectors, often the ones built or certified by Square or QuickBooks themselves.
So stick with the official integrations.
Right. They use secure, encrypted connections. And honestly, the time saved and the errors avoided usually far outweigh that initial setup effort or leap of faith. The risk of messing up manual data entry is probably higher.
That makes sense. And if you are using something like Google Sheets for detailed tracking.
There are tools for that, too. No-code platforms like Zapier can create automations. You can set it up so every time a sale happens in Square, the key data gets added as a new row in your Google Sheet.
Automatically. Keeps the data clean and, like, almost real time.
Exactly. And once you have that clean, integrated data flowing consistently, that's when you bring in the AI.
Okay, the AI part. The sources mention things like ChatGPT's data analysis features. You said for the heavy math.
Yeah, but don't let heavy math scare you. You're not suddenly becoming a data scientist.
Good.
You're just letting the AI do the complex calculations. You feed it your historical data sales revenue matched up against your labor hours and costs for those same periods.
So sales data from Square, labor cost data from my payroll or scheduling, perhaps.
Correct. The AI can then spot the patterns. It can figure out the mathematical relationship between, say, how much you spend on staff at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday and how much revenue you typically bring in during that hour.
That sounds like regression analysis, kind of.
It is, essentially. But you don't need to know the stats jargon. You just need to ask the right questions in plain English, like, based on my past sales, when does my current team seem to get overwhelmed?
So the AI turns your past performance into a model for predicting future needs.
Precisely. It helps you understand your actual capacity limits hour by hour.
I honestly thought this kind of analysis needed, like expensive consultants or custom software. It's pretty amazing it's accessible now.
It really is democratizing some powerful business intelligence. Okay, so let's make this super practical. Section 3, the 5-step data-driven process. What you, the butcher shop owner or coffee shop owner, would actually do.
All right, step 1.
Use your POS reports first. Find your real peak hours and calculate your sales per employee hour.
Not just total daily sales, but getting granular, hour by hour.
Exactly. You need to know what's happening at 1 p.m. versus 5 p.m. Square has tools for this, like their shifts reporting. They even have a specific labor versus sales report.
Okay, so that report directly compares what you spent on labor in a given hour to the sales you made in that same hour.
Yep. It shines a spotlight right on those moments when your current team might be hitting their limit, or maybe when you're overstaffed.
Okay, step 2.
Data export and organization. You got to get that key data out consistently. Daily or weekly revenue, total labor costs for the same period.
Either exporting it manually as like a CSV file.
Or ideally, using those automations we talked about so it syncs automatically into your spreadsheet or accounting software. Clean data is crucial.
Makes sense. Step 3.
Analyze those trends and forecast future revenue. Once you have the historical data lined up, you plot it over time.
So you can see the patterns, calculate things like a rolling 30-day or 60-day sales average.
Exactly. And spot those big seasonal bumps. Like for a butcher, the weeks leading up to Thanksgiving or Christmas are huge. You need to see those coming in the data.
And this is where the AI can really speed things up.
Absolutely. Instead of messing around with complex formulas in Excel, you can just upload your data file to something like ChatGPT's analysis tool.
And just ask it questions.
Yeah, in plain English. Chart my weekly sales for the last year and predict next month's total based on the trend. Or show me which months had sales more than $10,000 above the yearly average.
It visualizes it and does the forecasting for you.
Okay, instantly.
Yeah.
It saves hours.
But the real magic, the core of this whole approach, sounds like it's in step 4, simulating the hiring scenarios.
That's where the power is.
Yeah.
Because before you actually commit the money, before you hire someone,
You use the data model you've built to test the impact of that hire. It's like de-risking the decision.
totally, you ask the AI those what-if questions based on the capacity limits and forecasts it helped you find.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so you know the hourly wage for a good butcher or a skilled counter person? You could ask the AI, if we add one part-time person for 4 hours every Saturday afternoon, how much more sales capacity does our historical data suggest that would create?
Ah, okay. Trying to quantify the potential upside.
Right. But you also have to look at the flip side, the cost of not hiring.
The opportunity cost again.
Exactly. You could ask, If our current 60-day sales trend continues and we don't hire anyone, how many sales dollars might we lose next quarter because lines get too long during predicted peak hours?
And then you compare that potential lost revenue to the actual cost of hiring someone for those hours.
Bingo. You're estimating if the expected boost in revenue from shorter lines, happier customers, maybe faster service will reliably cover the new wage, plus, a bit of margin for safety.
It takes the emotion out of it. Replaces panic with calculation.
That's the goal. Which leads directly to the final crucial step. Step 5. Set clear, objective hiring thresholds in advance.
You have to define the rule before you feel overwhelmed.
Absolutely. This is your trigger. On those simulations you ran, you figure out exactly how much consistent, sustained increase in sales justifies adding that new salary.
So your rule might be something like,
if our 60-day average daily sales stays above X dollars, where X is the amount needed to cover the new hire, plus, say, a 20% buffer for 2 consecutive weeks, then we start interviewing.
it turns that vague, gosh, we're busy feeling into a specific measurable target.
Yes, a clear, data-backed signal takes the guesswork right out of it. That's the ultimate payoff.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. Section 4. Why does nailing this matter so much for a small business? The bigger picture.
Well, first off, labor is almost always one of the biggest expenses you can actually manage, right? Rent is fixed, cost of goods might fluctuate, but staffing levels, you control that.
So getting staffing right directly protects your profit margins.
Hugely. Hiring just in time, not too early, not too late, is critical for profitability.
And this approach, using accessible tools, it kind of levels the playing field, doesn't it?
It really does. This kind of data-driven capacity planning. Big national chains have teams doing this. Now, even a small local shop can tap into similar insights using tools they probably already pay for.
And the owner saves time and mental energy. The automated data flow, the AI doing the number crunching.
Frees them up. The outcome is just a smoother operation overall. Less stress from being constantly understaffed during rushes, less wasted money from being overstaffed during lulls.
Staff morale probably goes up too, when staffing matches the actual workload.
For sure. Better service, happier customers, and an owner who feels more in control of their growth trajectory.
Okay, so let's recap those key takeaways for everyone listening. First,
Automate your data flow. Get your POS, talking to your accounting or spreadsheet. Stop the manual entry.
right. Second, use that data, maybe with some help from AI, to run those what-if scenarios.
And define a clear, objective hiring signal before you need it. Know the sales number that triggers the hiring process.
And third, remember this isn't static.
No way. Costs change, wages go up, customer patterns shift. You've got to revisit those thresholds regularly, maybe every quarter, and adjust your rules as needed. Keep iterating.
Good hiring really is just good financial planning, isn't it?
It absolutely is. You're turning your past sales data into a practical blueprint for future growth. Growing your team just in time. Maximizing profits and customer happiness together.
All right, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to chew on. Building right off what we discussed.
Okay.
We focused on using data to set objective thresholds for hiring, taking the guesswork out of that decision. So the question for you is, what other big historically subjective decisions in your business could you apply the same thinking to?
Ooh, interesting.
Like deciding when to invest in a major piece of new equipment, or funding a store renovation, or maybe committing to a significant new monthly marketing spend.
Could you use your sales history and forecasts to set similar data-driven financial rules for those kinds of growth investments too?
Yeah. Moving beyond staffing, how else can you make those big bets based on objective triggers you set in advance, rather than just gut feel? Something to think about.